Welcome to Section 2, Route53 and DNS. In this section, we will learn about what DNS is, its fundamentals, Route53, and how to set up a domain. Then we will go through a simple routing example. We will learn how to set up our environment and learn about simple routing. Then we will move on to weighted and latency-based routing. Failover and geo-based routing are next. We're going to have hands-on experience with all of them, and we're going to have a quiz on Route53 to validate the knowledge and review the key concepts. Welcome to video DNS Introduction and Registering a Domain. In this video, we will discuss DNS, and we will have a general introduction to Route53, as well as we will learn how to register a domain using Route53. DNS, or Domain Name System, translates human-friendly domain names, for example www.example.com, to an IP address, such as 10.1.0.0. It's a globally distributed service, and you should think about DNS as the Internet's phone book, because it's going to map friendly domain names to IP addresses. IP addresses are used by machines to connect and communicate with one another, and there are two different types of IP addresses that are currently supported. So we have IPv4, these are 32 bits, and IPv6, which are 128 bits. IPv6 got introduced because IPv4 can support about 4 billion addresses. And at the moment, because we're getting very connected and we're getting more and more devices connected to the internet, they introduced IPv6 to be able to support a lot more addresses. Let's talk about top-level domain, or TLD. So think about analyzing a TLD as being the last word after the last dot in a domain name. So for example, in the domain name www.example.com, the TLD is .com. Examples include .com, .net, .fr, .it for Italy, .tech, .info. The penultimate word in a domain name is the second-level domain name. This is not required, but some examples include .co.uk, .org.uk, .com.de. And TLDs, or top-level domains, are managed by the IANA, or the Internet Assigned Numbers Authority. Then there are domain registrars. A domain registrar is a service that lets you officially register a domain name so that it is unique to you and nobody else can own it. This domain registrar, or this authority, can allow you to register domain names under one or more TLDs. Domain name registrars are accredited by the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers, or ICANN. There is a WHOIS database of registered domains, and think about this as the central database for all the registered domains. We will now cover the fundamental DNS record types. The A record, or the address record, is used to find the IP address of a computer connected to the internet from a name. Example, it will map www.example.com to an IP address such as 10.1.0.0. Then we have a CNAME record, which is the canonical name record, which maps a domain name to another one. For example, if we have a user who mistypes, instead of www.example.com, they will type in www.example.com, instead of having them being redirected to a web page that is going to display this DNS name does not exist, this entry is not known, we can actually use a CNAME to redirect them to the actual website, which would be www.example.com. Then we have NS, or name server record, which indicates which name servers are authoritative for the domain. They are mainly used if you want to break your domain into subdomains. That is, you will be delegating a part of your domain name to a different group of name servers. Then there are SOAs, or Start of Authority Record. These records are used to determine how your zone propagates to the secondary name servers. It contains info such as name of the primary DNS server, the email address of the person responsible as well. Then we have TTL, time to live, which specifies the maximum amount of time other DNS servers and applications, such as, for example, a user's web browser, should cache a DNS record. Because of caching, changes to a DNS record will not reach the entire network until the original TTL has expired. We will now start talking about Route53. So, what is it? Route53 is a highly available and scalable domain name system, or DNS, web service. It allows domain name registrations as well as health-checking web services. Some key concepts of Route53 include public hosted zone. A public hosted zone is a container that holds information about how it should route traffic on the internet for a domain and its subdomains. A private hosted zone is a container that holds information about how it should route traffic not via the internet but within VPCs, or virtual private clouds. Resource record sets tell the DNS how to route traffic for your domain. Traffic policies mean complex routing configurations. They will combine a few different routing strategies. Health checks monitor the health and performance of your web applications, web servers, and other resources. You can specify an interval between which AWS can check if your resources are still healthy, if they are reachable, or not. And domain name registrations and transfers are also facilitated via Route53. Now, we're going to move on and learn how to create our own domain using Route53. Because Route53 is not part of the free tier account by AWS, you can choose not to do this hands-on because it's going to cost you extra money. But if you want to, you can follow the steps we're going to do in this video, but name your domain name a bit differently, because as you remember, domain names are going to be unique. Otherwise, you can watch the videos and learn from them as we go along. Then, there are alias records, which are very important for the exam. They provide an Amazon Route53 specific extension to DNS. Alias resource record set contains a pointer to CloudFront distributions, S3 buckets that are going to host static websites, Elastic Beanstalk, Elastic Load Balancers, or another Amazon Route53 resource record set in the same hosted zone. Alias records are very similar to CNAMEs, but you have to remember that there are a few differences. You can create an alias record at the zone apex of a domain, but you cannot create a CNAME for it. And you should think about the zone apex as being the top node of a DNS namespace. So let's say if you register the DNS name example.com, the zone apex is going to be example.com. Another key difference between alias records and CNAMEs is that CNAME queries will be charged. Let's see how we can register a new domain name with Amazon Route53. We'll go to Network and Content Delivery and select Route53. And we can see we have a few different options regarding Route53. We have DNS management, traffic management, availability monitoring, and domain registration. With domain registration, we can register a new domain, or we can actually facilitate the transfer of an existing domain that we own. Let's go to Get Started now. We can see we can transfer our domain if we want to, and we would see the additional costs associated with the type of extension of our domain. But for now, we're just going to register a new domain. And I won't scratch that. And I won't choose .co.uk, but we can see there are a few different extensions that we can choose from. Each one has a price associated with it. And for now, I'm going to choose .co.uk. And I'm going to call it Go Calibri. And check to see that the domain name hasn't been taken already. The domain name is available, so I can add it to my cart. And we can see we have the possibility of keeping our domain name for a few years. So we can pay directly for 10 years if we want to. But I'm going to keep it for 1. And then I'm going to click on Continue. And here we would need to enter our contact details for our domain. And what you need to see over here is that we have the option of enabling privacy protection. That is, over here we can conceal our details from the web, so we wouldn't be able to be contacted. I'm going to now register and pause the video because of security reasons, but I will come back once I have done so. I have filled in my details, and we can see that before we complete our purchase, our Route53 is going to create a new host zone for us automatically. And we can read the terms and conditions beforehand. We need to accept them. The registration request for the domain name gocalibri.co.uk has been successfully submitted, and then we can see we'll get a new email from noreply-domain-name-verification.net or noreply@registrar.amazon.com, and we need to click the link in the email within 15 days. And it might take up to 3 days for our domain registration to complete. The domain name is now ready to be used, and I've gone into the host zones, and from now we can see we have our domain name. It's public, we did not make it private, and we can see that it's been created by the Route53 registrar. And we can get a bit more information. We have the name servers. By default we get 4 name servers. And we can add a few tags if we want to for our hosted zones. We can go to record sets. And over here we can see our NS record as well as our SOA type of record. And we will be using this extensively in the next few video